Hello, today we'll be learning about knot tying and its effect on sailing. So I'm just going to get right into it. There's three main knots that are used in the sailing world. The 8 knot, which is commonly used as a stopper knot. The reef knot, which is often used to connect two spare pieces of line. And the bowline knot, which is often used to tow heavy loads as it can take a lot of stress. So what we're going to be doing in this lesson is I'm going to first teach the class how to tie all three of the knots, and then give them some time to practice and tie the knot for themselves. And if they have any issues or questions, you guys can feel free to enter at any time. Just ask, and even though you're off camera, I'll just answer. And so yeah, I'm just going to get right into it. We'll start with the 8 knot. So the 8 knot is tied with one loose end, and it's commonly used as a stopper knot. So you'll see this knot at the end of your jib halyards, at the end of your, not your halyards, sorry, the end of your jib sheets, the end of your main sheets, to stop that line from running all the way through your cleats and your pulleys, and to keep it where it should be. So how you tie this line is you take a rope with one free end, yeah, follow along. And what you're going to do is put it behind the rope, put the end behind. Yeah, like hold it in your hand, just like this. And then you're going to feed it behind and front, and it should look like the letter 8. So before you tighten it, you should be able to see 2 twin loops. Yeah, just like that. And then you're going to pull on both ends of the line, and it should tighten into an 8 knot. Yeah, perfect. So it should tighten into a nice 8 knot, and you'll notice that if you take your finger and run it along, when you get into contact with the knot and you tug, it should not pass through. So that's good, it's doing its job, it's stopping the rope from sliding through whatever you need it to. So mission accomplished. The reef knot is it's a knot that you need to connect 2 different lines. So the special thing about this knot is the lines can be different thicknesses. It does not matter. I only have one end here, and so to accent my point, why don't I grab this rope of different thickness. So tying this rope is a lot like tying your shoes, the beginning anyways. You go, just like tying your shoes, you hold them together, and you want to go left over right, and get that shoe tying pattern, and then again, right over left. So this is hard because this rope is stiff, and you'll end up with a pattern that looks like this. Notice how the 2 ropes are different thicknesses, but it doesn't matter. If I pulled on this, like I'm doing now, it will hold every single time. These knots can take a lot of weight, a lot of stress, and it's okay. So yeah, if you're looking for a proper reef knot, it should look exactly like this. This is a really good example because the rope is so big. It makes it really easy to see. It looks a bit like a life jacket, kind of. The bowline that we're going to get to also looks like this, so be careful not to confuse them. So moving on to the bowline. Here, you can take that back. Thank you. Moving on to the bowline, this is a knot that is extremely important in sailing for things like docking, because if there's a lot of tension on the string, the knot won't actually tighten that much, which makes it still fairly easy to undo, but it also very rarely comes undone, so it's very reliable. And this is also the hardest one to tie. So a strategy that's often used is picturing the end of the rope like a rabbit. So what you do is you make the rabbit hole, and the rabbit is going to come up through the rabbit hole. Just like that. If you hold it parallel, he comes up. And then around the tree is the long line. Back, down the same rabbit hole, and then it's tightened by just pulling like that. You see you get a similar life jacket shape, like the reef knot, and you get this circle of string that won't tighten or loosen, but that is that will stay consistent. So this is really good for docking your boat, or if you're towing boats one after another. This is commonly used, and this loop is tied around the mast or something like that, so that you can tow boats and your knots won't come undone. So those are the basics of tying the 3 knots that are mainly used in sailing. So I'm going to give you guys a go, and if you have any questions, which by the look of that knot you do, just ask me and I'll correct you, or if you have any questions about where these knots would be used or anything like that, just ask right away, and that will be that. Okay, Dad, so what I'm going to ask you to do is tie the 3 knots that are used in sailing in this order: an 8 knot, a reef knot, and then a bowline knot. And if at any time you have any questions or concerns or just anything at all, just let me know.
Alright, let's give it a go.
So, yeah.
Alright, 8 knot. We swing this round here and push that up through here, and boom.
Okay, looks good. Knot number 1 done.
Alright, knot number 2, may I?
Yeah, sorry.
Alright, you said left over right and turn, and right over left and turn, and then we pull them tight, and I've got a little life jacket there.
Nice job.
How did that work?
Looks great.
Alright, and I found this one a bit tricky, but maybe you have them guide me here. So this is the bow line. So we make a little hole, we grab our rabbit, rabbit goes through the hole, drops down, goes around the tree, back through the hole, and then we tighten up the knot by pulling these 2. Is that right?
Yeah, okay, so that's a perfect bowline, but you're going to want to leave a bit of a larger circle. So the point of a bowline is to leave a circle that you can connect to something. So, like if you want to connect it around your mast or something like that.
So I'll give myself a bit more, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so give yourself a bit more, and then just the same, but what's going to end up happening is you should have a larger loop at the end, which would allow you to connect more stuff. Right, so this loop in here is the loop that you're trying to get in a larger place. Yeah.
Okay,
That's good, yeah. And then just tighten that knot by, you're going to want to pull on this one and pull on these 2. Yeah, get the knot tight without tightening the loop. And if you straighten that out, no, I think the knots come undone. So just let's try it again, just briefly. Okay, and I'm gonna follow you while we do it. Let's see if we can do it together.
Alright.
Okay, so I've left a bunch of rope. You left a bunch of rope. Sounds good. And we're making our loop. So what leaves a bigger loop at the end is the way you tighten it. So just before we tighten it, we'll just see if we can do it the same way. Okay, so when you get to the rabbit going back down the hole.
So I go around the back of the tree?
Yep, perfect. Yeah, you want them to go left to right. So just stop here. Yeah, so this, you should have some rope bagged at the back. So this is the rope that you want bagged at the back.
Okay.
So you're going to want to, go around the tree and come back up. But you're going to want to leave this bag, because that bag is what's going to be left. Yeah, so you're going to want to go there. And then grab those 2 at the back. Pinch them like that. These 2. Just like this.
Mm-hmm.
These 2. And then this one.
This one
And
here.
then just, pull. Perfect. Oh, great. So, so this is what you would attach to, if you're docking or if you want to tow boats, you might attach this to the boat. So that is the part, so if you want to give it a tug, perfect, sweet. So that's the part that isn't going to give.
Very good.
So this is very consistent. Yeah, it looks good. So great job.
Thank you.
And okay, so now everyone seems to have the hang of tying these 3 basic knots. We're going to bring in different elements. So what's important on the water sometimes is to tie these knots with a certain degree of speed, and more importantly, know when to tie them. So what we're going to do for our game today is we're going to do knot tying races. So the rules are the racer will tie a knot, for example an 8 knot, and then name a situation on the boat where this knot would be used. And then once I okay their knot, that is correctly tied, and their situation, they can move on to the next knot. And I originally pictured this race being a relay race with teams of 3 or even 5, but due to lack of students in this class, we're going to do it with individual racers tying multiple knots, as opposed to each racer tying a knot and then moving on to the next player. So we're going to get that started right now. Okay, we have our 2 racers here. Are you ready to go, guys? Oh, that's good. A friendly handshake. Okay, we're going to start in 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Alright, yeah.
I'm going to use this for keeping my jib sail, my jib sheet from sliding through.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm going to use this as a mainsail stopper.
What part is the main sail?
The jib?
No, the jib's a different sail.
I don't know.
The main sheet. You would
Main
use
sheet.
it as...
The main sheet stopper?
Yeah, you'd stop the main sheet from sliding through the pulleys.
Alright. There we go. Right,
Is that a good reef knot?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm going to use this reef knot for if I'm de-rigging. I'm going to maybe keep all my ropes together by using a reef knot.
Okay, maybe not keeping them all tied up, but definitely like tying your main halyard to your out haul or something like that. Like whenever you want 2 ropes together, that would be good. Yeah, you can keep going.
Okay.
And I've got my reef knot here, and I'd use that to maybe, if I had 2 short pieces of line that I wanted to make into one longer one.
Yeah, you could use it for that, I guess.
Thank you.
Alright, you guys are both on the final knot. The hardest one.
I think perhaps
Dad has his bowling
That's
done.
my bowline. I'd use this for docking or hooking up to another boat for towing.
I do believe I messed
Very
mine up.
good.
I might have to do mine again.
I think we're gonna have to call Dad the winner here.
Alrighty.
His bowline was